What is up, everyone, and welcome to the Border City Kids Unsolved podcast. I appreciate you being here on a Saturday. First off, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. If you're joining me right now, I appreciate you being here. I wanted to cover what my episode yesterday was about. Usually I do this on a Thursday, but it's been a busy last few weeks. So here I am right now. As you can see, I have a new setup again. This is probably my third or fourth new setup, so I appreciate you being here. If you have any questions about what today's episode is about, please put them in the chat below, and I will do my best to get back to you. My page is www.youtube.com/@thebordercitykids. That will take you to my page that has videos on natural disasters such as tornadoes, hurricanes. We have tsunamis, obviously caused by earthquakes. And we also have now shifted over into unsolved mysteries. But hey, I might shift back into natural disasters since my audience seems to appreciate that more. There's also some paranormal stuff on there as well. So there's lots going on. I am a relatively new channel. I'm the Border City Kids Unsolved. I'm just going to keep plugging away at this. This is my hobby on the side of what I do as my career. So welcome. We are going to get this one going, so thank you for being here. Like I said, I think I put a question in the chat about what you think happened to Jennifer Kesse, and if you don't know who that is, let me go into the actual story first, and we will actually talk about what actually happened to Jennifer Kesse, who she is, the timeline of events of what happened to her, and possible suspects. And we'll also go over the infamous video footage that we have of Jennifer Kesse's suspect. So we'll cover all of that tonight. So thank you for being here. This is the Border City Kids Unsolved channel. So please subscribe, hit the like button, share the show with everyone you know, because everyone loves a good mystery. In the world of true crime, we often look for the moment where everything lines up. The suspect is on camera. The vehicle is found, and the timeline is narrow. Yet, in the 2006 disappearance of 24-year-old Jennifer Kesse, we are met with a phantom figure who remains one of the luckiest suspects ever in criminal history. Despite being captured on surveillance video of the video parking Jennifer's car, this person's face is obscured by a fence post in every single frame, which occurred every 3 seconds. This haunting image remains the primary clue in a mystery that has lasted nearly 2 decades. So we are coming up right now on 20 years. Welcome to the podcast. This is about the disappearance of Jennifer Kesse, and this is the Border City Kids Unsolved. So welcome. So before we begin tonight's episode, I want to thank you for being here. If you are joining me, please type in the chat if you have any questions. I'm going to try and keep this as straightforward as possible so that you guys have the information that you need, and I'm here to give that to you. And if you have any questions, I can answer directly what you're asking for. But before we begin the show, I'm going to ask you to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and share the show with everyone you know, because everyone loves a good mystery, and I appreciate you guys being here. So the first question we have tonight is, who is Jennifer Kesse? So we're going to go through a few different things here. We're going to look at who Jennifer Kesse is, some of the information that's given to us about the suspect, the timeline of events, suspects involved, and everything else that we can give you as far as information goes. And we'll also give you a contact line if you have any information. I know it's 20 years ago, but if you have any information about the case, this would be greatly appreciated for you to contact Florida Department of Investigations, because this is an open case. So, welcome to the show. Jennifer was a successful, highly responsible young woman. She was living in Orlando, Florida. She was a 2003 honors graduate from the University of Central Florida with a degree in finance. She quickly climbed the corporate ladder at Westgate Resorts, becoming the youngest employee there to earn a promotion to management. She was known to be extremely close with her family, speaking with them every single day, and she was very safety conscious. Okay, she was very worried about herself. She always had to make sure everything was done a certain way, and she didn't want to veer off of her usual routines. She always did things in routines, and she always wanted to make sure that she was safe. So she was very aware of what was going on around her. At age 24, she had already achieved the milestone of purchasing her own condominium at the Mosaic at Millennia. Friends described her as loyal, ambitious, and far too careful to simply vanish without a trace. Now, obviously, this is going to kind of go into what's actually happened to her, why we know that this is very suspicious in the first place, because of the way things seem to go. So, Jennifer was 24 years old. She had just finished up her work in school, and now she has a job. And what we're going to do now is go into the timeline of events about what actually happened to her. Okay, so let's cover that. She was a young professional student for a while, and then she disappeared without a trace. Okay, and she was working. She had just become new to her job, so she was relatively new in what she did. On January 24th, 2006, a 24-year-old financial manager, Jennifer Kesse, disappeared from her Orlando, Florida condominium on her way to work. There were no signs of a struggle, none at all. There were no witnesses and no ransom. Okay, no one stepped out and said, "I'm responsible for what had happened." Her car was found 2 days later, and it was parked a mile away. So if we look at the victim, obviously Jennifer Kesse, she's a 24-year-old girl. She lives in a new condo. She has a loving family. Okay, she's not distanced from her family in any way. She's in lots of contact with her family and the people around her. She had a very low-risk lifestyle. There was no risks in anything that she did. She was very routine about what she did. She was in the Mosaic at Millennia condos in Orlando, Florida. And the clue that is most valuable in this is that the surveillance cameras captured the person of interest who parked the car in what investigators call the statistically impossible coincidence. And we're going to take a look at why that is. The person's face was obscured in every single frame of the video that was taken. And every frame is at 3 seconds, and the face was at a fence post every single time that the frame was captured. So, yes, it's great. We have surveillance. The face is literally blacked out. We cannot see it because of the fence post being in the way every single time the frame was shot. And that is statistically impossible. And that's the most bizarre thing about this case. Okay, so let's move on to our timeline about what actually happened during this case, because it's pretty incredible. On Sunday, January 22nd, Jennifer and her boyfriend, Rob Allen, returned from a vacation in St. Croix. She spends the night at his home in Fort Lauderdale because he lives there. She is in Orlando. On Monday, January 23rd, she leaves work. Her e-pass registers her car on the return toll at 6:16 p.m. So we have her going through the tolls both sides, okay, on the way to work, on the way home from work. Monday, January 23rd, she speaks with family and friends. During one call around 6:30 to 7 p.m. roughly, that is confirmed. There's a knock at her door. She tells her friend she believes it's a neighbor, so she decides not to answer because she doesn't think it's important. She can probably go find out who it was later on. Okay, and that sounds like there was no suspicion at the time, so she's just taking it as this is okay. That's no problem. Jennifer has her last known conversation, so this is documented, which is a phone call with Rob Allen, and she says she's tired, she's going to bed. And that's with her boyfriend at the time, which is not anything abnormal. That is exactly what had happened. Now, here is where things start to go wrong. On Tuesday, January 24th in the morning, obviously, because we work in the morning, Jennifer failed to show up for an important morning meeting. So at her work, she had a meeting, she didn't show up. Maybe she missed her alarm. No alarm bells are ringing at this time. Okay, everything's just, okay, we're just gonna call her, see if she's around. Maybe she just slept through her alarm, maybe she's late, something happened. She'll be okay. Jennifer's family arrived in Orlando by mid-afternoon and found her condo, which appeared pretty normal. It suggested that she'd been ready for work. The shower was wet, so that means that she woke up, took a shower. Her contacts were out because she had her glasses. She had her work clothes, were laid on the bed. However, her car, and her personal belongings, including her keys, phone, and cell phone, and a cell phone she intended to mail to her brother's friend, were gone. So a few things were gone. Now, whether or not she made it out of the condo before something happened to her, we don't know yet. Now, we're going to take a look at, and this is the most important part of the entire case. Okay, here is, like I just went over. And this is kind of what her apartment looks like. Okay, so we have the front door. It was locked, no signs of forced entry. The bathroom was wet. There was a damp towel on the floor. Contact lenses were out of the case, and there was makeup on the counter. So clearly she was getting ready for work. The bedroom had clothes laid out, and new shoes she planned to wear were missing. And the purse, keys, iPod, cell phone, and a friend's work phone were missing. Okay. When the Kesse family arrived, they found there were no signs of forced entry or struggle, so everything appeared normal. And at the Mosaic at Millennia, they began kind of like a look into the cameras to see what was going on. There were many construction workers on the property, and they were living in vacant units on the property because they didn't want to keep leaving and coming back. So there were some vacant units already there at the Mosaic at Millennia, so they were already in there themselves. So they may have had their eyes on Jennifer Kesse. Jennifer Kesse had told her family that she was uncomfortable due to catcalls and stares from some of the workers there at the Mosaic at Millennia condo facility. So there were some possible red flags now that we know that something happened to her at the actual condo units. She would often stay on her phone with her parents until workers left the apartment. Okay, so they stuck around for a bit, and then after they left, she would get off the phone. Okay, here is the issue, and what you are looking at right now are some, and this is not actual evidence from the security cameras. The good news is, with what I have here, these are some kind of redone scenes from the surveillance footage, but they're a lot clearer so you can understand what's actually going on here. Now, if you Google the surveillance footage from the actual case of Jennifer Kesse, you're going to see some frame shots that are very blurry, but you can identify that there is an image with the face being blocked every time. So here is what we're going to talk about, and this is the surveillance footage. 2 days later, after Jennifer had gone missing, Jennifer's Chevy Malibu was found abandoned at the Huntington on the Green apartment complex, roughly 1 mile from her home. Surveillance footage showed a person of interest parking the car at approximately noon on the day that she disappeared. The person of interest sat in the car for about 32 seconds before walking away. So the suspect parked the car, 32 seconds, got up, started walking away. Investigators describe the footage as infuriating. So when you're trying to find someone, they are infuriated because they know that something almost impossible has happened. The person of interest is wearing light-colored clothes, possibly a painter's or chef's uniform, but their face is never revealed. And if you have a look at the frames that are shown on my screen, while initial estimates put the person of interest between 5'3" and 5'5", later analysis suggested they could be as tall as 5'10", because they actually went up to the fence post and kind of marked off where the face was, and they measured it could be as tall as 5'10". So they have a few different theories on how tall, but the person could be as tall as 5'10", so just a little bit short of 6 foot. The camera recorded a still image every 3 seconds. And each frame, the person's face is blocked out by the fence posts, so we have no identification of who the suspect is, which infuriates, once again, the people that are investigating the case. So we're going to take a look at some of the theories. Let's go into it. So theories, when we talk about the scent trail that was connected to the condo, an Orange County Sheriff's bloodhound named Bo was given a scent article from the driver's seat of Jennifer's abandoned car. So they found something. They probably brought the dog to the car, and the dog smelled who was sitting in the car. So they have a scent, and the dog's trail provided a critical link. And if you look at what I'm showing you on the screen here, we have a scent track from where the car was found and the mosaic at Millennia where her car was parked. So there's your trail of where the vehicle actually went from one spot to the other. The dog tracked the driver's scent for over a mile directly from the car back to Jennifer's condo complex at the mosaic at Millennia. The scent trail ended at the front stairwell leading directly to Jennifer's second floor apartment door. And the expert confirmation, so an expert who looked at this is what they're saying. They said, "I'm telling you, whoever dropped her car at that complex walked right back to where it was originally parked." So that's the significance of where what happened with the dog following the scent. So the dog was able to follow the scent all the way back to the apartment complex. So that tells you that because the dog picked up that scent, that the suspect in this crime, who was captured on video, literally drove, parked the car, and walked directly back to the apartment complex. And that is why we have the construction workers being key suspects in this case. Because who's working at the apartment complex? The construction workers. So it's very, very strange about what's going on. But we still can't prove it, and that's the tough part. The expert also says, "This tells me as an experienced handler that whoever is involved walked back to the complex." Did they live there? So maybe they lived in the apartment complex. Did they work there? Possibly. "My dog never lied to me." Jeff Brown, the reserve deputy and K9 handler, said this. So they know the behaviors of the dog. They can connect the dots when we're talking about parking a car and heading all the way back to where they originally got it. So this is pretty wild that the dog went back to the complex. So now we are going to go to an investigation compromise from hour one. And this is where some of the problems came up in the investigation and some of the things that led up to the Kesse family maybe suing the investigators or the police department that was involved in the investigation. The Kesse family and later private investigators have pointed to several critical missteps by the Orlando Police Department in the crucial first 48 hours that may have permanently damaged the case. The police first told the family she had a fight with her boyfriend. She'll be back. delaying a serious investigation. Okay, there's some redacted information. The crime scene contamination. The condo was never processed for fingerprints or forensic evidence, as it was used as a base by family and friends searching for Jennifer. There was a failure to secure any witnesses at the apartment complex or anywhere else. The police failed to immediately identify and question all of the construction workers at the complex. There were only 7 maintenance workers, but the Orlando Police Department only spoke to 3 who spoke English. So anyone else who didn't speak English, they did not bring a translator in for, which they should have, to get any information about maybe someone being suspicious on the premises. Many were undocumented and had left the area before they could be properly interviewed. And if they can't identify who some of the workers were, then they were gone. The crucial surveillance footage of the person of interest was not released to the public for weeks, losing the window for an immediate recognition. When you have something that happens like this, you need to be quick on what you're doing, and you cannot take your time to interview people. You cannot take your time to come up with possible suspects, and you cannot take your time to look at some of the video evidence against the suspect. You need to do this as quickly as you can, because as time goes, and as they say, you have the first 48 hours to solve this crime and come up with a name or something like that. So, theory number 1, and this talks about the workers at the Mosaic at Millennia that we're going to go into. So let's go into some of those theories right now. Theory number 1. Primary theory focuses on the workers at Jennifer's condo. The Mosaic was undergoing major renovations, and many workers, some of course were undocumented, were allowed to live in vacant units at the property. Jennifer and 6 other women in the complex reported feeling uneasy, so it wasn't just her. Okay, there were others, due to constant catcalling and leering from these workers. One specific individual, Virgilio Ramos, a maintenance worker and registered sex offender, was identified by a witness as resembling the person of interest, though he had passed a polygraph test. Bloodhounds eventually tracked a scent from Jennifer's abandoned car directly back to her condo complex, suggesting the driver returned to the site on foot. They walked back. There are some alternative theories, but that is theory number 1, dealing with the workers themselves. Theory number 2 was a circle of known men. Investigators also explored personal and professional connections. The ex-boyfriend of Jennifer Kesse, Matt Sullivan, was seen drinking at a bar near Jennifer's condo the night she vanished and reportedly took the breakup hard. The co-worker of Jennifer Kesse, Johnny Campos, a supervisor, had repeatedly pursued Jennifer despite her rejections. He showed up late to work on the day of her disappearance, appearing very agitated, so you could tell something was off. We can't prove it. Corporate fraud. Some speculate Jennifer may have uncovered financial misconduct at her company. A business partner associated with the firm was later sentenced to federal prison for a multi-million-dollar fraud scheme. So, if she uncovered something, she would become a target. That's pretty scary. Recent breakthroughs and current status. So let's have a look here at the current status of the actual case. Okay, here we go. After years of stagnation, the case was transferred to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, the FDLE, in 2022 and is no longer considered a cold case. As of late 2025, investigators have utilized artificial intelligence for image analysis of the surveillance footage and have discovered new DNA evidence on previously untested items. Unfortunately, this is 20 years later. It is going to be hard, and obviously the suspect may no longer be living. The list of persons of interest has been significantly narrowed, but they will not release the names of who they actually are. The Kesse family continues their unrelenting crusade for answers, having previously sued the Orlando Police Department to gain access to 16,000 pages of investigative files. So let's have a look at where we might be today. And this is looking at a case now that is 20 years old. So we found new DNA evidence, the persons of interest have been narrowed, and we've done an AI analysis. And the good thing with AI is that we can actually take some images that were taken 20 years ago and try and clear them up as much as we can, maybe find a few different details that might, if the suspect is still alive, clue us into who it might be today. The Jennifer Kesse case is a stark reminder of how a routine, a morning routine, can turn into a decades-long mystery. Someone knows what happened on that Tuesday morning. As Jennifer's father, Drew Kesse, often says, they're putting the pieces of this puzzle together one at a time until his daughter is found. Finding the truth in this case is like trying to finish a massive jigsaw puzzle where the most critical piece, the suspect's identity, is physically there on the table, yet permanently turned face down, leading investigators to build the entire picture around an empty center. And that describes exactly what it is, because the suspect had been walking through, caught on camera, and with the impossible, we have no idea what actually happened. And here's the sad part. Jennifer Kesse was declared legally dead in 2016, but her case is far from closed. With a dedicated FDLE team, new DNA evidence, and a narrowed list of suspects, the path of justice is clearer than it has been in years. The phantom in the frame may not remain a ghost for much longer. Someone somewhere has to know something. Someone knows what happened on January 24th, 2006, which is almost 20 years ago. If you have information, please call the FDLE Orlando office at 407-245-0888 or email oroccoldcasetips@fdle.state.fl.us. Please do so. The family wants answers, the friends want answers, the boyfriend wants answers, and someone knows something. Please do the right thing. Do what's best, because Jennifer Kesse deserves to have her name heard. She deserves to have she deserves justice for what happened to her. And we miss Jennifer Kesse. She sounded like a very good person. So, thank you for being here today. I appreciate you being here. If you have any questions, even if you watch this after the episode, I get back to you really quick. So please type them in the chat below. Please please subscribe if you are into unsolved mysteries. Also suggest any cases that you want me to look at, or if you just have to comment, then comment. But please remember Jennifer Kesse as we go forward, because she deserves justice for what's happened to her, and we never forget that she was an innocent person, and she was a very happy person, and she didn't deserve this. This is Brian with the Border City Kids Unsolved. I hope you were here. I hope you appreciated this. Please call the line or email if you have any tips on who the person might be. Thank you for being here. Have a good night and enjoy your weekend.